So eventually the market is going to make you develop that skill, whether you like it or not. So the sooner you just embrace it and fold it into your plan, I think you'd be so much happier, or any retailer could be so much happier if they just do that.
We've got Nick Dolby with us today from Topstep, formerly called Topstep Trader, and he's a former funded trader at Topstep. And he currently works as their social media manager, main social media guy, and
Mhm.
affiliate manager as well. So he's doing a lot over there. Very gracious that he agreed to chat with me about his trading and what he does at Topstep. So welcome, Nick.
Hey, thanks, Lenny. Thanks so much for having me here. I think we
What
connected
got
on
you?
Twitter once, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
for reaching
connected on
out.
Twitter. And anybody who wants info about Topstep, Nick is super active on Twitter in the Topstep account. So if you even just tweet a question, chances are Nick will answer you, and he's super fast on it too, which is impressive compared to any other company I saw out
That
there.
mobile lifestyle. It's a blessing and a curse, really, right?
Yeah, I'm always curious what got you into trading, because we all come to trading from such different life paths.
Yeah. For me, I think my first recollection of it was when I was in like grade school and my dad just, was mentioning like stocks and stuff. And like that was like literally it. Once that seed got planted, talking about like, investing, like Warren Buffett, the markets, I pretty much just got hooked. I did what I think probably a lot of retail traders do. So like you get into maybe like some investing and then like, maybe that's not exciting enough. So then, maybe you try penny stocks and then options, and then you kind of go through like this like rotisserie of things that you can trade. Eventually I did get to futures, which I think are a great product to trade. And that was mostly through finding the Top Step firm about 10 years ago. So I was maybe one of the first 50 or first 100 in the program when it first got started.
Had you done any other trading with prop types of firms before that?
No, actually, it was pretty funny because I think it was like right when I was getting out of college, and I like hopped on Google, looked up prop firms, and some of the more like old school ones were listed, and then that wasn't really what I was into, and then a couple months later, searched Google again, and all of a sudden, Top Step was there, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. You pay a relatively small monthly fee to give you a SIM account, prove your worth. And if you pass, you get funded. And I was like, this makes sense. It's a good price point for me at that point. It's like things like $165 a month, which is the same price that we have now. And so it's a good value. I mean, that's what's really so special about Top Step is that you can pay a relatively small monthly fee relative to the experience you can get out of the market, right? So if you're trading a paper account, you don't really have any skin in the game, so you don't really get that psychological experience that you kind of need if you're really going to develop as a trader. Even just paying a small monthly fee is enough to like really make those trades kind of have some weight to them, and that can make a big difference in your education.
So true. It's a step I haven't taken yet, but want to. I'm still on sim trading and getting my system down. But I'm also curious, did finding Top Step make you say, all right, I'm going to start trading futures because I like the structure of their program? Or were you already into futures before that after you had gone through lots of different things like stocks and options and other things?
Yeah, I think I was just into trading and then happened to find futures, and I had a lot of what I was looking for. I think the markets they're very tradable. You have a lot of options to trade. Not like the product options, but you've a lot of different markets that you can kind of get into. So there's really something for everybody. And if you like day trading, the markets are very, very fair for day trading. Leverage kind of depends on which product you're doing, but you can kind of get whatever market you're feeling, whatever suits your personality, you can kind of find it in the futures market. So that's great. If you want something a little bit slower, you have the ES. If you want something a little bit more chaotic, you have the NASDAQ. If you want to trade commodities, that's also there. Sorry, my cat wants to join the interview.
That's so funny. I have four kitties and they're in another room right now.
That's very wise. I wish I could sequester him, but we'll see what happens.
The cat will help you with your trading.
Sometimes we do get phone calls. So back when I was working customer service, like, oh, cat slept on my keyboard and placed a trade, and like, I don't know about that. And now I have a cat who's very active and loves the keyboard. So honestly, not out of the realm of possibility for that to happen. But It's a risk you got to manage though, right?
There's so many risks you got to manage, and
Yeah,
I guess it's more all the more important to have that stop loss in there.
100%. You never know when the cat's going to come and place a trade. You never know.
That's crazy. You had some thoughts from when we were talking before on retail trading versus what the professionals do and what it's like to come to trading and to manage trading as part of your life when you've
Hmm.
got a work life and other things going on. What can you share that might be useful for people who are new to trading and also just new to prop trading about like how can you manage this? Because you had a good point just now about how you take it more seriously when you are paying that monthly fee and it all feels more real. And how do you take it to that next level as a retail trader and manage that within your life?
Yeah, I think when I got started, what I really didn't realize was just how big the psychological component is of of trading. I think like most jobs, you have an idea of what the job is like maybe supposed to be or something. Like for example, when I sold life insurance for New York Life for a very brief moment. And my perception of the job was that I was going to learn about products, and then they were just going to give me like a list of people to call, and that would be the job. It turns out the real job is just like 90% phone calls and like socializing and just trying to get in front of people. And I feel like trading is kind of similar in that regard. It's like you want trading to be about like the money, technical analysis, and doing research, and then the reality of it is that you're really just managing yourself. You're getting real deep into your own psychology, and I think it can kind of sucker punch a lot of retail traders because no one is advertising or talking about that fact when it comes to retail trading. It's just how demanding it is psychologically. It's tricky. It's just our minds naturally are not really made to uh, look at the market that way, and it's different. It's different and it's very difficult. It's like it's not a 9 to 5 job. Just because you showed up doesn't mean you get paid, right? There's a great example. So a lot of traders maybe want to trade every single day because they think it's a 9 to 5 job. But it's like, well, if you're not feeling like trading, just don't trade. But like, people associate trading with money, making money, or work with making money, and trading is not like that. You really want to be on your best behavior, psychologically, if you're really going to be trading and taking it seriously. And it just requires an unrelenting amount of discipline.
I can totally relate to that. I've been reading Mark Douglas's book, The Disciplined Trader, which is like a classic in
It's great.
this industry, and he talks about how trading screws with people's minds in ways that they can't even begin to fathom until they do it. Like
Yeah.
you can have a winning trade and you can make thousands of dollars in a few minutes, and then you can have a losing trade and lose it all in the next few minutes. And there's nothing else that really parallels that. And most of the time it's work is this very linear thing where it's you make a certain amount per hour, or maybe you're on commission, you can make more, and you show up and you work 8 hours a day, etc. But on trading, you said, like you said, you have to be on your best behavior. You've got to really be ready for that intense psychological challenge. So I find when I'm tired, I make bad decisions.
Yeah. And any psychologist would agree with you. If you're tired, if you're hungover, if you went out too late, if maybe if you have like a routine or something that you do, if you don't do it, maybe that's a sign that you shouldn't be trading because you're just getting like a little bit too lax. Like there's ways you can like set up your trading life so you can kind of give yourself some warnings here and there, but then like are you even going to follow it in the first place? Because even that just takes discipline all into itself. I do think that people who are new to trading do have an inherent advantage, and that's that they don't know anything, and that's almost kind of like a great state to be in because you don't have any expectations. The market's just there. Maybe you're probably placing trades without any baggage on your mind. You're probably taking winners well. And if you have a loser, you're probably like, whatever. And then the more and more you trade, the more and more you can get into your own mind and start, maybe double clutching trades. You're not thinking clearly. Maybe you're thinking too much. And then I think kind of the process from there is to kind of get back to the beginning of where you were initially of being brand new and kind of having this sort of like, well, whatever happens, happens kind of attitude. And it's to like maybe someone in the middle of that process, it's like, oh, you're not taking trading seriously enough. But in reality, the person who's brand new to trading and the person who's an actual professional do have actually quite a bit in common, which is that you just kind of take what the market gives you. And if you win, great. If you don't win, that's probably going to happen at least 40% of the time, maybe even 60% of the time. And you could still make money. But it's really the psychological aspect of it. It's really a very interesting profession and end game, and anyone can play it, and anyone can play it differently. But the psychology stuff tends to be the underlying component that binds everything together. No one can really avoid that.
It's such an intriguing point you made about how the beginner and the professional have that often in common, where they're not so attached to the outcome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I mean, I remember when I first started trading, I was trading penny stocks, and I was like, "Oh, this is easy." And then, like a month or two in, you're like, completely. This I was just completely underwater, like psychologically. I had no idea what was going on. But if
Yeah,
I had just held on to that little like sliver of my very beginning, like I probably would have been okay. But it's just how trading is. I mean, it's such a weird profession because like I don't know, I think as traders we want to, live every single tick, every single moment, every trade, but in the reality you need to look at like 100 trades. So each industry, each trade you place, kind of a random outcome, but you're hoping your edge over time will give you, profits. But it's hard for a human being to be like, oh, this is one of many trades of my week or my month, and to have it, to treat each one differently, to have them all play out. And you just have to trust the process, and we'll definitely come back to trusting the process because that's going to be it's a pretty important topic.
yeah. The pros like Mark Douglas and Brett Steenbarger, et cetera, especially the trading psychologists, are always reminding us, hey, every trade, no matter how much you've studied and back tested and all of that, every trade is basically a coin flip.
Yep.
So it's 50-50. But over time, do you have edge? Do you have over that 100 trades an ability to take something out of the market? And that's most people aren't very good at statistics. And that's just normal. Like we don't naturally understand statistics very well in our heads normally as human beings, but to understand that dynamic is really powerful because if we get too attached to like, well, hey, this is a 90% trade and it went against me 3 times, there must be something wrong with me. And then it comes back into the psychology part, like something wrong with me. And especially when I find the more we identify as traders, the more we want to be right because we want to look good and we've already identified ourselves as a trader. And who am I?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not a profitable trader, then I'm a losing trader and I'm a loser. It's very
Oh, it's
painful.
very easy.
It's very painful to go there, right?
Oh, yeah, it can happen very fast too. Especially because like you're trading, like I would assume that most people are trading alone, especially retail traders who are kind of venturing into the space. And so like the screen is just it's just a feedback loop. So if you just send like one negative thought from your mind to the screen, then it's going to come back to you, and it's going to go back out again, and it's going to come back to you again. And by like that point in time, you could be it could go from I'm having a bad trade to I'm a loser to I'm a bad husband, bad father, maybe, what this thing I did in my childhood. I mean, it can go so far back. And I actually think trading can be really helpful and useful in that way. But talking about things where, retail traders aren't, you know, expecting, I think that's probably the biggest one is that you can go real deep in your mind when it comes to trading, and you're not really going to expect it. And eventually, I mean, you probably end up developing some sort of system or methodology of like meditation, yoga, breathing, exercise. A lot of people do end up getting into healthier routines and habits because of trading, which is great. But that's because they have to kind of get their discipline under control. And the only way to really do that is to actually practice it, right? I think discipline is kind of a muscle that you can work out. And ideally, you don't want to be working it out in the market. You want to be doing that outside of the market. So that way, when you are challenged, you can execute that discipline, seamlessly without thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I find trading is it's one of the ultimate self-awareness tools. Like no matter how many meditation sessions I've had in my life, or I do emotional healing work. I do all kinds of stuff. I'm really into personal growth,
Hmm.
but
Right.
none of it
Yeah.
matters in the moment when I'm in a trade, and then it's like things are stable. I'm starting to see a green bar, and I was let's say a long position, and then all of a sudden, big red bar, and I'm like, oh my god, and I freak out.
Yeah, the heart rate, gets, jacked up. All of a sudden, you like fight or flight, you freeze, and you can't make a decision.
Yeah, none of it matters in that moment, other than to say, like, to have the self awareness enough to say, "Hey, I'm doing it. I'm way off center right now. Use your tools
Yeah.
that you've learned to come back to center." Like that's when it matters. But like at that moment where I that red bar forms and it's all of a sudden almost at my stop loss. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. And that's where following the process will help you a lot, or help anybody. It's just because that's really all that's kind of like the scorecard you want to keep. Mostly it's just like, did I follow my process? If yes, good job. Did
Yeah,
I follow my process and lose money? It's like, okay, fine. That's one trade of 100 in this whole process where I think I have an edge, right? But it's so easy. And I've made so many mistakes as a retail trader, and that was absolutely one of them, is that it's so easy to get sucked up into one trade and to have it like define like your entire life. And it's
yeah.
no, like this trade doesn't mean
Especially if
anything.
other things in your day are not going according to plan as well, and things can compound, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I always said that if I ever became like a psychologist or a therapist, I would just have all of my clients trade for like 2 months. And then we'd know exactly where we need to go. It's because whatever that issue is that is preventing you from succeeding is going to manifest itself very quickly when you're trading. And I've talked to, I mean, when I was a customer service rep, I did something called a breakout coach for a while, and I was actually talking to recently off-boarded funded traders, try to like, see where they're at, get them focused again. And they all, not all of them, but there were a couple of traders who had some really interesting issues. And like one of them, a gentleman in like his 50s or 60s didn't have a healthy relationship with his dad, who is still alive. And like that was really preventing him from moving ahead as a trader. There was another one who came from like a fairly poor family. Like his family was like primarily farmers. And then he was trading, and he was actually a really successful trader, but he felt a lot of guilt because she didn't consider trading real work, right? So it wasn't like manual labor. And so he felt guilty about the profits he was making. And so he would trade well, and then he'd end up blowing up his account, right? So it's like, did any of them expect that to be an issue when they started trading? It's like, no, but like eventually your ego is going to like force you to, it wants an answer. And if you don't give it an answer or like resolution, it's not, at least in my opinion, it's not really going to let your trading, happen or succeed until it gets satisfied. But it's tricky. No one really expects that.
Those are those are such great examples of how trading triggers the emotional issues that we haven't worked through yet. Even we may not even be aware of them, but then all of a sudden they come up when you're trading, and then it's like, wow, that's something I need to work on. And
Hmm.
then that, if you're into that, it's so powerful. And if you're scared of that, well, maybe trading's not right for you because it is going to trigger issues. But for me, I get excited about that because then I'm like, I'm aware of something, and then I can work on it.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that, and I think for any retail trader who's trying to get into it, definitely be prepared to get into self-help in some form or fashion. You can kind of, pick your healthy poison, I guess, whether it's, like, meditation stuff, want to do like Eckhart Tolle, maybe like Dr. Joe Dispenza, like however you want to, take care of your psychology. Um, you're gonna have to find something one way or another. I think it's almost inevitable. I haven't talked to very many traders who don't have some sort of outlet for the psychological aspect of trading. I just don't think it's talked about very much, because I think it's probably really personal to a lot of people and like what their personal like routines are. Not everyone's. It's not very sexy to post on TikTok. It's like, yeah, I woke up at 6:30, meditated for half an hour, did 20 minutes of yoga, and then reviewed my journal, and then I had a trading session. People just want to know about the trading session and like, did you make or lose money? not about like what happened before or like the review session that happened after. But
Yeah, that's one of the things
the
I
pros
like
are doing
about.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Mike Bellafiore and the S&P Capital team because they talk about those things about how you do self-care as a trader and how that helps you evolve. And some of the case studies they have of, I think, G-Man, some other people on their team have
Mhm.
made millions of dollars by improving their own routines. So that's pretty cool. Also, with the personal growth that you went through, how did you find that that changed or evolved your trading style itself?
Yeah, I mean, my style, or what I'm most familiar with, came from trading at Topstep with like fairly limited um, daily loss limits. I actually trade really well if I have a smaller loss limit, just because I have enough discipline to not blow up my trading session, at least, like back then in the day. And so, I developed a system where I just, I like little tiny consolidations, and then, that's kind of where I go from there for my setup. And as far as like how it built out from there, I mean, a lot of it is just like having the patience to execute it. A lot of it is doing some mental preparation as well, kind of like visualizing your setup, visualize yourself taking it, visualizing the outcomes, being prepared for both outcomes. And so it's really just like using that kind of like pre-market stuff, like the psychological stuff, to help prepare your mind and body for what's going to happen during the trading session. So if you don't do that work, then you're going to be feeling stuff, maybe for the first time while you're in a trade. It's not ideal. I mean, you don't want to be learning how you're going to be responding to certain things in the moment. You'd much rather, prepare for that stuff, and you can do it. I mean, I'm a big Dr. Joe Dispenza guy, and you can use your mind to pretty much put your body through whatever it can conjure up. And so why not take the time to expose your body to some either positive emotions or negative emotions, or random outcomes. And when they do happen, then you are prepared for it, and your body's prepared for it. And so it makes making those decisions, at least in my opinion, a little bit easier to manage.
Dr. Joe is amazing. I suggest anybody who's into improvement in any way to study his work. I mean, he's a guy that was in an extremely severe accident where he was hit by a speeding car when he was in a bike race and
Mm-hmm.
broke many parts of his back and was told that he'd be paralyzed for life and his muscles and tendons and all kinds of things were shredded. And they were like, you have almost no chance of ever having any kind of normalcy after this. And his body regenerated because he was so focused on that. And he travels the world and teaches the mind body connection and how you can practically use these tools. And traders, we desperately need those types of tools because even though they sound esoteric, they actually end up being really practical.
Yeah, and it's like not something that you can be scared of either. It's just it's going to happen. I think the sooner a retail trader embraces that, just they're going to make their trading lives, I think, just much less painful, and their journey much less painful, because it's going to happen. It's just an inevitability that you're going to have some sort of psychological, you know, wall built in front of you, and they're going to have to go get the tools. I mean, I did a video a while ago in our Discord community about like, kind of just like that cycle of just going round and round and round and round and round. And like so many traders just want to, add maybe a different indicator. I think it's actually pretty typical. So like a retail trader will get into trading, they'll try to find their system, and they'll go on this hamster wheel of finding different indicators to try to fit into their system, to try to get the answer, the holy grail. And eventually you just get diminishing returns on that process. Like you can't learn all that much more about technical stuff, because eventually it's going to come down to execution anyways, right? So like even if you're a wizard at stochastics, moving average crossovers, whatever it is, eventually the market is going to ask you to manage risk. And if you don't have the brain power uh, or discipline to do that, then you're just going to lose anyways. And so eventually the market is going to make you develop that skill, whether you like it or not. So the sooner you just embrace it and fold it into your plan, I think you'd be so much happier, or any retailer could be so much happier if they just do that. But like I said, it's going back to the whole New York Life example. It's like I didn't expect that I was going to be making phone calls 90% of the job. And then I think a lot of day traders are like, I don't know, I was going to be doing meditation and yoga for the first 45 minutes of my workday. And that's just kind of how it works, but it's necessary.
Are there things that you, in addition to the personal growth routines, what do you suggest people do to prepare for a prop firm like, let's say, a funded trader program like Topstep before they even come into the combine, where they're going to demonstrate their skills? What kind of system testing and like what are all the things that they should do to really feel like I can succeed in this?
Yeah, I mean, if you we get all sorts of traders from people who are brand new up to, pros, semi-pros. And so everyone kind of comes in with a different kind of a different angle for what they want out of the program. I think if you're brand new to trading, definitely sign up for like a 14-day free trial, which we have on our website. That way, at the very least, you can get used to the trading platform and what it's like to put on and take off trades. Because even there's like some technical stuff that you just have to learn about the platform. You don't want to go into a trading combine paying money and then you're making, technical platform-esque mistakes. Because that's kind of like it's kind of a waste of a mistake if you just press the wrong button or something, right? So get into like a 14-day free trial, get familiar with the platform, see what markets you like to trade as well. Not all markets behave the same. Maybe try trading the ES first, and then if that's a little bit too slow, you could try, the RTY. You could try the MNQ. Definitely recommend trading micros as well. Those are products that you can that trade 1/10 the size of an E-mini, so you get a lot more room in your trading combine to kind of experiment. And also just don't be in a rush ever. I think there's a lot of traders who like, I'm going to join the program, I'm going to get funded, and then that's it. That's like the end of the line is I want to get funded. You just don't want to rush, because if you rush, or if you're thinking about passing the trading combine, you're probably going to fail. At least from my experience, that's kind of what it is. It's kind of like that rule in Fight Club, where it's like the number one rule of Fight Club: you don't talk about Fight Club. In my opinion, the number one rule of the trading combine is to not think about passing the trading combine, because as soon as you get your focus from your process to passing the trading combine, your mind will basically generate all sorts of trade ideas to get you over the edge, to get you that profit target. And if that's where your mind goes, I can basically guarantee you, and this is from personal experience, that you are going to start taking trades that are not within your system. They're going to be losing trades, and you're going to start getting further and further away from your profit target. And that's because your mind shifted from following my trading plan to trying to pass. Those are not the same thing. Not the same thing.
Good insights. And are there any particular trading techniques, whether scalping or on the other side, trend following, or particular indicators, or particular anything that you've seen tends to work better than others for a program like Topstep?
I It depends on the trader. I think a good thing any trader should do is just figure out where you're comfortable, or figure out at what point in time in your trading day, what amount of money starts to get you on tilt, right? So it's a different number for everybody. Some traders are very comfortable losing $700 in a day. Some are more comfortable losing 300. And then you want to make sure that you're staying under that point, because you don't want to go on tilt, and you want to make sure that you can come back to your day tomorrow and still profit. This is so that's like, I think, where any trader should first start, is figure out with what amount of money you're comfortable losing. Because if you don't have that defined in your trading plan, then you're probably just going to be really uncomfortable trading in general, and you're not going to be very happy. As far as like systems go, at Topstep, we prefer traders holding their positions for a little bit longer. Scalping can be okay on sim. It doesn't necessarily translate to real-time markets though. So it is something that we do look at, and we do try to educate traders. If you're trading, 500 contracts in a day, you know, chances are on sim you're probably going to be doing a little bit better than you would be doing in the real-time markets, because your orders are going to be competing. So the more you are competing with the real market, there's a greater chance that you're going to get a little bit of slippage, or someone's going to be a little bit faster than you, or you're going to have to wait in queue to get filled, and your order is going to be just a little bit different than you would have had. So that can kind of erode edge over time. So anyone can trade however they want to. We just kind of have a little bit of a warning when it comes to maybe high frequency, high contract counts. If that's really going to be your edge, only because it tends to perform much better in sim than it does on live. And from our records, traders who are trading that kind of style tend to get chewed up quite a bit in the real-time markets. But that's all in our help center. So we are transparent about that. It's not like some secret. That's all in the help center and on the website.
Yeah, and that's also advice I've heard from many traders who are now successful and they're trading real money accounts and they're being consistent. They say when you're testing your strategy, it's probably not going to perform the same when you're in real markets, because when you submit that order, it goes into a queue and you're behind all the other orders at a given price point, and you have to wait your turn to be filled on that order, and you just don't know if it's going to happen. You may not even be filled. Like some news event comes out and you've got a limit order a certain price, and then price jumps past that and you're stuck in this trade and you could lose a ton of money. So whereas on sim, you might have been filled because the price went there.
Yeah, and I think that's part of our mission at Topstep too, is to make sure that even though you are going through a sim program, is to have the rules and the program set up so that it is realistic for when you are on the funded level and you are placing, real trades in the real market, and you are competing. We're not trying to like obfuscate that at all. I mean, that's how the program is set up. It's like we want to make sure that you are getting ready for real funded trading in a real funded account in the real markets.
From what I've seen, you guys have more focus on education than many other companies do, even though there's a lot of funded trader programs these days. Talk about some of the things you guys do for education to help people learn and really step up.
We do we do a lot. Especially recently, I feel like we've really started to branch out our YouTube presence. We have a ton of videos now. We've just updated our weekly events calendar. So now we're doing Make Hove Money, which is one of our segments. I believe it's like 3 or 4 days a week now. And so as more and more traders demand more attention from our coaches, we're all about giving it to them. And everything we do as far as classes goes is pretty much for free. We offer free one-on-one coaching now, which is brand new. The list for that is already pretty much filled up, but that's been great. We have the YouTube, we have the Discord community. So if you just want to socialize with other traders, find an accountability partner, that can be done through Discord. We have the Facebook group, which is a little bit more longer form for conversation. Let's see. I think those are the big ones right there. I mean, the YouTube one through Hogue is huge. I mean, Hogue is a former floor trader for like 30 plus years. His dad was a former floor trader. So we have a lot of former floor traders at this company, which I think is actually a pretty unique thing of Topstep, right? So like many of the new prop firms that are out, we're kind of trying to do what we're doing. They don't have those coaches. Michael Patak, former floor trader, founder of the company. Eddie worked on the floor. He works on the customer service team, trader support team. He also does one-on-one coaching as well. Former floor guy, Hogue, former floor guy. We have a couple more as well who are former floor guys. I mean, this is a trading company for traders, and we love educating traders. And also, like I said, it's all free as well. So you don't even have to be a part of our program if you don't want to access this information. I think that's pretty unique as well, is that most of the time these trading companies want to paywall all this free education stuff, but it's not for us. It's all free, all public. Discord's public. We don't charge anything. The YouTube classes, those are all free, don't charge anything. And you can follow us on social media to get the scheduling for all that stuff. It's always available. Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. There's never a reason to not feel like you don't know what you're doing or you can't find help if you're at Topstep, because someone will be able to help you.
That is a great breakdown. And you guys are based in Chicago, and some of the other companies may not be, but I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because companies can be based anywhere and still be great companies. But for trading futures, which you guys focus on, even though you have Forex and other things now, but
We actually don't
That
have Forex.
oh, you don't. I guess I misread that.
We did a while
The
ago.
futures focus then? Totally futures
Yeah,
focus.
we
Okay.
got rid of Forex a while ago, and so now we're 100% futures.
Okay, totally
Yeah.
focused. And that leads into my next question, which is what are some of the changes you guys have made recently? I saw one of them was that you're now offering a 90% profit split and only taking 10%.
Yep.
And
Yep. That's a
what are
big
some of the
one.
other changes? I mean, that because that's something that people, any trader would love to know that they can earn they, out of, let's say they earn $10,000 in profit, or they make $10,000 in profit on the account. $9,000 of that is something that they can take.
Hmm. So there's two. Well, there's three. So that's one of the big ones is the 90/10 profit split going up from 80/20. That obviously affects funded traders, um, a fairly special group who are, funded and taking payouts. So they love that. But for stuff that, impacts even more traders, we ended up actually removing two rules as well. We got rid of the weekly loss limit for the 50K through 150K account. And we also got rid of being flat for economic events as well. So this is going to give traders a little bit more room and flexibility to trade, which is great. Of course, with more power becomes, more responsibility. So just because we do or did like remove these rules, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should be trading through economic events. And if you're not trading that well during the week, we're not suggesting that just because you don't have a weekly loss limit means you just trade to the very, very end. Some of these rules we had were to help traders, kind of get prepared for the funded account. So if you're not trading well during the week, maybe slow down or just stop and come back next week. But we did decide to get rid of those. There's a lot of demand for the community. I think kind of wanting a more relaxed rule set, which we're more than happy to give. But traders also have to know that there's a little bit more responsibility with having fewer rules. But so far, those rules have been accepted, and I think everyone's really enjoying that as well. There's probably have been a couple of traders who, most likely not been flat during a news release and probably learned fairly quickly that, oh, maybe why there was that rule there. But if you're in a good position now, you want to hold it through economic release, go for it. The other big one too was for funded traders is going back to step two instead of going back to step one. So this in my opinion is a huge change. This kind of gets us down to, you would say like a one-step program. So as soon as you're in step two, you go to the funded account. Once you're in the funded account, if you lose that account now, you're guaranteed to go back to step two instead of having to go back to step one. So this gets it really shortens up the pipeline to get you back into a funded account again, which is a huge deal. It's a huge deal because before, if you were in a funded account and you had a negative balance, you broke a rule, you go back to step one instead of going back to step two. So it's a pretty big climb coming back from step one through step two back into funded. So now it's only just a one-step round trip. If you're funded, go back to step two, then you can go back into the funded account again if you can pass step two. You have to sign back up again within 30 days, but it should be more than enough time for a trader to figure out if this is something that they, still want to pursue. But
What's cool?
those are some of the big ones, and we have one or two massive changes coming as well for the end of the year.
Oh, any
So
previews?
I cannot give any previews, but I would say that they are substantial. They are substantial changes, and the entire everyone in the trading combine will enjoy them. It is something for everyone. The other changes maybe just for funded traders this time, but this is going to be for everyone. So we're all very excited for that. We've been making a lot of changes recently, and we're really happy with the changes that we've made. And I think the community has been,
Yeah, I've seen
thrilled as well to have us be a little bit more flexible with some of the rules that we've had.
I've seen some really positive feedback about those rule changes, and it's congrats on that. I know it's not internally from an operations perspective in any company. It's not easy to change things. There's a lot of consideration has to go into that. So it's great to see you guys listening to the community and saying, okay, how can we offer this, whatever it is, whether it's the profit split or being able to trade news events, etc. That aren't really internally, they're not easy things to change.
And we've had little changes as well that kind of went, I wouldn't say under the radar, but we've really made taking a payout much more efficient. Before it was like 7 to 10 business days. Now we're down to processing payments daily. So you can actually submit a request for payment like anytime. And then as long as it's in before 10 a.m., we will process the payment. So you could get a payment in somewhere between 2 to 5 business days. And five is like really pushing it. So that's a real nice like, kind of a quality of life improvement for people taking payouts now, is that we can get those to you way, way, way faster than before. So we've
That's
made all these
awesome.
little
Yeah.
changes. Yeah, it's just, little things here and there just to make the experience better for the trader.
Yeah. I saw another company, I won't mention the name, but I saw that they were offering payouts of withdrawals only between, you have to file the request between the 20th and the 25th of the month and follow certain rules. And then only you could take the payout. Otherwise, you have to wait till the next month between the 20th and the 25th and submit your request to take it.
Yeah.
So,
And that's I mean, and that's just this is just good general advice though. If you are getting into a prop firm, um, do yourself a favor and don't just judge the firm by how easy it is to pass and like what the rules are. Also look at their payout policy as well. Because typically those things are going to be kind of related, right? So if there's an easier evaluation, then typically the payout policy is going to be a little bit stricter. And then if it's a harder evaluation, then typically the payout policy is going to be a little bit more lenient, right? But I think a lot of retail traders will look at a prop firm like, oh, this is super easy to pass. And then they'll pass it, maybe get into a funded account. And now maybe they didn't spend all that much time looking over the payout policy, but there can be a lot of little details in there that are really important to a trader to understand. So if you're really going to look into prop firms, look at the entire experience from beginning to end, not just the first half, because you
do
do
you
want
have
to make
any
money.
yeah. Do you have any other advice on what to look for in a prop firm? Because there's so many different traits of any given program, and every company has maybe 5 or 6 options on, account size and trailing drawdown and all these different things. Like, what are the most important things that one should look at before deciding on a company to go with?
Yeah, I mean, I think being able to have a company that you can talk to is really really important. So if they have good customer service, even better if they have phone support. Obviously like we do, which is great. It's basically like, is the company you're going to be trading with accessible? Do they have are they active on social media? Do they have YouTube videos? Are they actually doing stuff? But are they accessible? Because you don't want to be trading with a firm and you have an issue and all of a sudden you can't talk to them, or their email response time is 48 hours. Like that's not fast enough for the markets. Other thing is going over the payout policy and making sure it's something that you agree with and you're just okay with. Every firm's gonna have a different payout policy. That's totally fine. That's within their own right, but make sure it's a payout policy that you think is fair and is achievable for you and for whatever your goals are. Other than that, make sure the price is right. You are going to be spending some money. Ask yourself, is this something that I could do for 10 months, 12 months? Is this an adequate monthly fee for my education? Do they offer account sizes that have, variable pricing? Some accounts are going to be a lot more expensive than others. Some might be a little bit smaller because they're going to have less daily risk. So can you get yourself into an account that will have a daily loss limit that will be appropriate for the strategy that I'm trying to run? And then from there, it's rules, right? So if you have a good trading plan already written, make sure the rules of that program that you're doing can either adapt or adjust, or maybe you have to do something completely different. But you don't want to get yourself into a program and it turns out that your strategy is just not going to work because there's some restriction in the program that exists that's limiting your edge. And then if you don't have anything and you're brand new to trading, just find a program that you feel comfortable with, that's reputable. Like I said, being transparent and being able to talk to the firm, I think, is huge for being reputable, especially in the finance world. There's a lot of kind of weird, scammy stuff out there. And I think you and I, pretty much anybody, if we can talk to someone on the phone on the other end, that adds a lot of legitimacy to that company.
Yeah, that it does. That's an excellent summary. Do you have any other advice for anyone, let's say anyone in the Topstep Twitter community or your general community that might be listening to this at some point and wondering, hey, is trading right for me or is Top Step right for me? Any advice, any extra advice for any of those groups?
Yeah, I mean, make sure that you're having fun and you're enjoying trading. I mean, it can be as easy as a question as that is, am I having fun doing this? If you're not having fun trading, then, maybe try to figure out why, and that's something that you can kind of address. If you are having fun trading, but maybe you're not doing well, then, reach out to the community, to one of our many coaches, YouTube videos. Um, but it's hard. Every person's different. Everyone comes to trading with a slightly different background, slightly different, suitcase of baggage and skeletons in the closet. So like, it can be different for so many people, but there's nothing wrong with just kind of doing a gut check every now and then and just being like, am I having a good time? And if you're not having a good time, then take some time to reevaluate whether or not, trading is for you. You're not a quitter. You're just trying something new that's extremely difficult. I think it's really easy for new traders to get really down on themselves. And as someone who was a new trader, it's like I did it all the time. It's so easy to beat yourself up. It's like, am I studying enough? Am I trading? Am I working hard enough? And you know, if you're not feeling it, then maybe just take a break. That's something that you can do. The markets are gonna be there when you get back, and if the markets are not there when you're back, then everyone on earth has a problem that's far greater than, trying to become a professional day trader. But it's certainly okay and to to ask yourself that question. And that's why we have the community now as well. It's like you're not alone in this trading journey. Topstep has a Facebook, we have a Discord. You can find someone to talk to. If you don't want to talk to, a stranger, we have coaches you can talk to. We have a community that you can join on YouTube. I mean, all of those classes that Hogue hosts, there's a lot of familiar faces in there. And that's something that, Topstep is really proud of, is actually building a community so every trader can have someone else to talk to. You don't have to do this alone. In my opinion, it's far too hard. If you can even just find one other person to talk to kind of vent, it goes a long way in improving just your trading psychology. It's a huge difference.
I love that final advice to really see how much fun you're having at something, because at trading in particular, or anything in life, because we often do things because of what other people will think about us. There's a certain trading status that people have or perceive about traders, and that's one of the reasons someone might want to get into it. But it's not the best reason to get into it, right? The best reasons are really your personal reasons, and if you don't think you're really going to enjoy it once you try it, there's going to be something else for you. It doesn't have to be trading.
Yeah, and it's like we don't, at Topstep, we don't want traders to get into trading as a means so they can beat themselves up, which is really easy to do in trading. To try to, use trading as some tool to, you know, just torture yourself with for some injustice that you committed to yourself maybe 5, 10 years ago. It's like it's not why you should be getting into trading. We don't want you to get into trading if that's what you're trading for. And if that's the experience that you're having, you know, give someone a call, talk to somebody, because it's not healthy behavior, but it's really easy to do that when you're trading because it's such a emotional and like psychologically demanding job that if we want to use trading to beat ourselves up, we can do that. I mean, I've done it before, and it's taken me time to figure out that behavior, and it's not healthy. And you have to go and do that emotional, psychological work that we talked about in the beginning that no one planned on doing. But here we are a year and a half later, and we're talking to therapists, or we're doing meditation, or getting into some new healthy habit. But that's all part of the kind of holistic experience that I think being a good trader kind of requires these days. And part of that question is, am I having fun trading? Find the joy in trading. Why do you like it? Is it because of the challenge? Is it because of the discipline it instills? Do you just like the money? I mean, that could be the answer. You do like the freedom. Maybe it provides you a lot of freedom to hang out and do it else, whatever you want. And if you can find the reason why you're trading, that can be actually a really powerful motivational tool to push you forward as a trader, to give you that inspiration to maybe study charts an extra hour or two. Figure out why am I trading? I don't think a lot of traders even spend time doing that. I probably should have spent more time doing that.
Upon reflection, it becomes clear.
Yeah, right?
The trading journey seems like one of the charts that we would analyze, whether it's futures or stocks or whatever. You might have a nice run, and then you go into this like consolidation phase. We're like, wait, why am I doing this? And I'm not performing right now, and all this pain is coming up, and then you might go and pursue the meditation or the therapy or whatever, and then eventually it kind of comes together, and then you have a breakthrough, and it's like a breakout on the chart.
It's very similar. I mean,
Yeah,
although I mean, I do think some people just like, start with a pen and a piece of paper and then just draw a bunch of squigglies. So then that's also their journey of becoming a profitable trader. Because it's just, I don't know if you can even get the journey on an XY sometimes. Sometimes it just goes off the chart completely. And then all of a sudden you come back and all of a sudden you're trading well again. Take a break, go do something new, go do something different, get yourself out of any pit you're in, find why you love trading. It's not a bad question to ask. Not at all. Not at
yeah, it's
all.
a great place to pause in this session and ask you how can people contact you? How can they get in touch with Topstep if they're interested in the program?
Well, getting in contact with me is super easy. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Twitter, Discord, Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm on all of those. If you want to talk to any of our coaches, you can visit our website and we have a little coaching section. And also we have that YouTube as well. All those classes are posted. I post the weekly calendar every week, so that's available to you as well. And you can actually talk to Hogan chat all the time. I mean, pretty much everyone is available at Topstep. So you get in contact with the support team, support@topstep.com. I actually have a little Discord command as well, so you can just type /support in our Discord, and you'll actually get DM'd or email, phone number, everything that you could possibly need. If you're a funded trader, we have a risk manager for you as well that you can contact. So if you have any questions about your funded account, or maybe you want to, increase your daily loss limit, or if you want to, increase your lot sizing, that's a conversation you can have with our risk manager. So we are very, very easy to get in contact with. Send us an email if you have a question. Give us a call if you have a question. You can talk to me on social if you have a question. Every now and then you can talk to our CEO and ask him a question. So we're always available. We love talking trading. We love trading. We love helping traders. It's really something that we're proud of, and that we do. Is that we want to make sure traders are having a good time and doing it in a healthy, non-destructive way. And if you're having issues, you can always contact us. There's never a reason to struggle.
Lots of channels, and really cool that you have a risk manager that people can actually have a chat with and talk about position size. Can I have more contracts in my positions? Can I have a bigger loss limit? Of course, they'll base that on your performance so far, I'm sure. But
Yep.
that kind of
Yeah, we're
flexibility,
always
I didn't know you had that kind of flexibility, Milton.
Yeah, we don't talk about it a ton, but once you're funded, if you're trading well at Topstep, you're a phone call away from, having your account adjusted. If you're doing well and you're proving that you can manage risk, we have no problem expanding your risk parameters. It's just when you're in the trading combine, things are going to be a little bit more rigid. But if you're a funded trader we can see your account, we can see what kind of trades you're doing, we can see what your risk is like. And if you're doing a great job, then it's like, yeah, let's give you more to do a great job with, right? We're not going to be that strict once you're in the funded account.
Very cool. So I will see you online, and I know lots of people, I'm sure, will be able to connect with you because you make yourself so accessible, and Topstep is so accessible. Thanks so much for sharing all this knowledge, Nick.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks so much, Sonny. If anyone ever has any questions, we are all over social media, all over Discord, and you can always contact us directly through the support phone number, support email, and be sure to check out all of our stuff on YouTube, because there are shows pretty constantly from about 7:45 all the way to 3. there's something that's scheduled for you to learn about trading from.
Nice. I definitely want to check that out.
Cool. Yeah, well, definitely check us out, www.topstep.com. And then that's also going to be our YouTube as well. I think it's Topstep or Topstep Official. You'll see it. White tee with the black logo. That's us.
Keeping it simple, focusing on
Mhm.
what matters.
Yeah. Yes, as they say, keep it simple, stupid. But don't call yourself stupid because that's not nice.
Yes, then you might need all the therapy and stuff we talked about.
Yeah, right.
All right, Nick. Well, happy Monday to you. Happy trading, and we'll talk again soon, hopefully.
You as well, Sonny. Have a great week.